Mother pleads for safe return of missing daughter. Polisa Lam has taken to social media to appeal for help in locating her 16-year-old daughter, who went missing after leaving the home of a family member yesterday afternoon. According to Lam's Facebook post, her daughter was last seen wearing an orange Arrow t-shirt and blue or black jeans, carrying a green suitcase and a red and white traveling bag. Lam reported that attempts to contact her daughter via phone have been unsuccessful, suggesting that the individual accompanying her daughter has caused her distress. In her emotional message, Lam urged anyone who sees her daughter to reach out to her via WhatsApp at 6931332 or to contact the nearest police station. In a heartfelt plea directed at the person who has her daughter, Lam stated, "Please let my daughter go. All I want is my daughter to safely return." She expressed deep concern about the emotional turmoil this situation has caused her, asserting that the individual involved is an adult and her daughter is still a minor. "Nothing will go well for you and your generation and family," Lam warned. She emphasized that this is her only child and that her feelings would remain the same regardless of any other children. "Every tear I drop you'll pick them up one by one. So pick your poison," she added, making it clear that she feels strongly about the situation. Lam's post has garnered attention and concern from the community, and she hopes for a swift resolution to ensure her daughter's safe return. The family is urging anyone with information to come forward. Police report: fatal incident at Queenstown, Essequibo Coast. Police in Regional Division No. 2 are currently investigating a fatal incident involving an excavator and a laborer, Mervyn Locken, a 36-year-old resident of Sparta, Essequibo Coast. According to the excavator operator, Rupchand Lal, age 32, he was engaged in road construction activities at the time of the incident. Lal stated that he was in the process of digging out asphalt from the road surface when he was informed by a worker that he needed to level the edge of the parapet. After reversing the excavator to a section of the access road, Lal drove forward and used the machine's blade to level the southern parapet. As he began to reverse again, he inadvertently ran over Locken, reportedly pressing him into the loam and sand. Lal claimed he did not see Locken on the road and stated he immediately stopped and exited the excavator, at which point he discovered Locken's motionless body. Locken was transported to the Suddy Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival by the attending physician. His body is currently at the Suddy Public Hospital's mortuary, awaiting a post-mortem examination. The scene was subsequently visited by a senior officer and a team of investigators. The excavator was examined and photographed for evidence. Lal has been arrested and taken to the Anna Regina police station, where he is currently in custody assisting with the investigation. The investigation is ongoing as authorities work to determine the circumstances surrounding this tragic incident. Pomeroon laborer charged with narcotics possession. Devin Greaves, a 24-year-old laborer from Siriki, Upper Pomeroon River, was charged on Friday with possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking. Greaves was apprehended by police on Wednesday, July 9, 2025, in Charity, Essequibo Coast, where he was found in possession of 28.2 grams of cocaine during a search. The case was presented at the Suddy Magistrates Court before Her Worship Miss Tamika Clark. Greaves pleaded not guilty to the charge. The prosecution objected to bail, citing the nature of the offense, and as a result, Greaves was remanded to prison. The case has been adjourned to August 11, 2025, for the disclosure of statements. Technician released on bail for wounding brother. A technician from Campbellville, Mark Edge Hill, was released on $75,000 bail on Friday following charges of wounding his brother, Fitz Albert Small. The hearing took place at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty. Edgehill pleaded not guilty to the charge, which alleges that on June 9, 2025, he unlawfully and maliciously wounded Small with the intent to cause harm. His attorney, Audriana Thompson, argued for bail, noting that the brothers have been living at the same address since the incident without further issues and emphasized that Edgehill is not a flight risk and has no prior legal troubles. The prosecution, however, objected to the bail request, citing earlier peace bond arrangements between the two men and expressing concern for Small's safety. During the proceedings, Small testified that Edghill attacked him by throwing oil mixed with pepper in his face and hitting him on the head with a hammer, resulting in 6 stitches. The dispute reportedly arose over an electricity bill totaling $100,000, which led Small, an employee of Guyana Power and Light, to change the meter to a prepaid system. "I only go to the house to sleep when he's not there. I am scared for my life. He threatened to kill me," Small stated in court. In a related development, Small was also charged with assaulting Edghill on the same date and pleaded not guilty. He was granted $10,000 bail for this charge, and both brothers have been placed on a peace bond. The matters are scheduled to be revisited on August 8, 2025. Man released on bail for assaulting child's mother. A 23-year-old inventory clerk, Tony Nelson, was granted $20,000 bail on Friday after facing charges of assault causing actual bodily harm. The hearing took place at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty. Nelson, a resident of Lot 1 Mandela Avenue, pleaded not guilty to the charge, which alleges that he assaulted Alicia Daly, the mother of his child, on June 27, 2025, in La Penitence. During the proceedings, Nelson's attorney, Lakshmi Ramath, argued that her client has denied the allegations. She explained that on the day of the incident, Nelson attempted to pick up their child from Daly, who allegedly refused and instead attacked him. In what his lawyer described as an act of self-defense, Nelson struck Daly. Ramath further asserted that there is no reason to deny bail, emphasizing that Nelson is not a flight risk. Despite the prosecution's objection to bail, they requested that both parties be placed on a peace bond. Bail was ultimately granted, and both Nelson and Daly were placed on a peace bond. The case has been adjourned to July 18, 2025, for further proceedings. Tushin woman celebrates 103rd birthday. Lillian Haniff, a resident of Tushin, New Scheme, celebrated her remarkable 103rd birthday on Saturday. Born on July 12, 1922, Ms. Haniff reflects on a life rich with experiences and family. In her younger years, Ms. Haniff met her late husband, and together they built a family that includes 4 children, 3 daughters and a son. Throughout her life, she held various jobs to support her family and ensure they thrived. Now, at the age of 103, Ms. Haniff spends most of her time at home surrounded by her loving family. While she faces some health challenges, including difficulties with hearing and speaking, she relies on her son, Mark Haniff, for assistance with mobility. Ms. Haniff attributes her longevity to a healthy diet and the strong values instilled in her through her Christian upbringing. She is surrounded by a large family that includes her children, numerous grandchildren, countless great-grandchildren, and a host of great-great-grandchildren, all of whom celebrate her incredible milestone and the wisdom she shares. Her family and friends gathered to honor her life, reflecting on the love and strength she has brought into their lives over the years. Adriana Young's case, autopsy report sent for independent analysis. Kaiser News reports, days after the Guyana Police Force, GPF, provided Adriana Young's autopsy report to her family's lawyer, the document has been sent to U.S.-based forensic pathologist Dr. Carol Terry for an independent analysis. Dr. Terry, who conducted a second autopsy on the 11-year-old, is now performing a comparative review of her findings against those of the initial autopsy conducted in Guyana. Adriana Young, who was reported missing during a family trip to Tushin, East Bank, Essequibo, was found dead in the swimming pool of the Doubleday International Hotel on April 24, 2025, just 20 hours after her disappearance. A post-mortem examination performed by a team of 3 international pathologists concluded that the cause of death was drowning. Despite the examination occurring in April, the report was not handed over to the family until June, following numerous requests from Adriana's attorney, Dr. Dexter Todd, for both the autopsy and the investigative report compiled by retired RCMP officer Leonard McCaution. Initially, the GPF refused to release the reports, stating they could only be obtained via court order. However, the report was ultimately provided on June 16, 2025. Dr. Todd confirmed that the autopsy report has been forwarded to Dr. Terry for a quality assurance review. Dr. Terry is analyzing the findings to ensure they meet forensic standards. Todd explained, "She's going through the report bit by bit with her observations and assessment." However, Dr. Todd noted that he could not predict when Dr. Terry's report would be available, citing the absence of a toxicology report, which the family has also requested. While some toxicology findings are mentioned in the autopsy report, the complete results have not yet been released. A meeting between Dr. Todd and Dr. Terry is scheduled for Tuesday to discuss the next steps in the review process. Regarding the contents of the autopsy report, Dr. Todd stated that it confirmed the cause of death as drowning but did not clarify the manner of death, whether it was accidental, homicidal, or otherwise. He emphasized that the report indicated a need for a thorough criminal investigation, stating, "It supported what Dr. Terry said that it requires a thorough criminal investigation." The report also noted no signs of trauma or struggle, but Todd cautioned that this does not rule out the possibility of foul play. As the investigation continues, the family remains hopeful for clarity regarding Adriana's tragic death. Shaun James endorsed Mohammed as presidential candidate. My fellow brothers and sisters across the country, as our nation arrives at another defining juncture in history, we are called upon to make sensible and informed decisions concerning leadership capable of managing our country's resources, building our nationhood, and most importantly, shaping our future in the best interest of all Guyanese. For immediate release, Shaun James, Port Kaituma, Region 1. I hereby express my unwavering support for the Win Party and Mr. Azruddin Mohammed as our presidential candidate for the upcoming general and regional elections. I firmly believe that much more can be accomplished for the ordinary citizen, alongside other sectors of development. It is my strong view that the yearly budget formulation processes in our region lack adequate citizen engagement, resulting in allocations that do not fully reflect the needs and priorities of the people. To improve governance and public service delivery, we urgently need more strategic and transparent resource management, driven by effective planning, implementation, and monitoring. Policies must move beyond short-term political expediency and focus on long-term, inclusive development that benefits all citizens, particularly in critical areas such as agriculture, small business, housing, infrastructure, healthcare, education, employment, and public utilities. In this context of my political conviction, I am convinced that the leaders I now support have emerged at an opportune time for Guyana to move forward under the banner of national unity, justice, and equal social and economic opportunities. The party's vision for transparent, inclusive, and accountable governance is not only timely but essential, offering a people-centered approach grounded in practical action rather than political rhetoric. Admirably, the party's presidential candidate has consistently demonstrated a deep understanding of the real-life challenges faced by ordinary Guyanese and has invested directly in solutions that empower communities across Guyana. His strong commitment to decentralizing essential services and fostering sustainable, long-term development underscores his readiness to lead Guyana toward a more equitable and prosperous future. With a proven record of service, integrity, and compassion, Mr. Azruddin Mohammed represents a new era of leadership, one that prioritizes the interests of the people above politics. His candidacy offers hope, vision, and the type of leadership Guyana needs to move forward with unity and purpose. As I conclude, I call on you to join me in this movement for a better and safer Guyana. Concerns raised over GICAM's nomination day procedures. News source Guyana reports, leaders from the Alliance for Change, AFC, the Assembly of Liberty and Prosperity, ALP, and the Forward Guyana movement have expressed significant concerns regarding the lack of communication from the Guyana Elections Commission, GICAM, about nomination day procedures. They are particularly troubled by GICAM's decision to allow the governing People's Progressive Party, PPP, to submit their nomination lists ahead of the other parties. Political parties have been camped out at the Umana Yana for a week, aiming to be first in line to submit their nomination documents. The APNU was the first party to arrive and has remained in place. However, the Elections Commission recently informed the AFC and ALP that the PPP would be allowed to hand in its list second. This decision has raised eyebrows, as the other parties claim they were all in line before the PPP. Gicum appears to be relying on a photograph posted on the PPP's Facebook page, which suggests they were second in line. The other parties have insisted that the submission order should be based on their physical positions in line, and if the PPP is granted the second spot, it could displace the remaining parties further down the queue. AFC leader Nigel Hughes condemned Gicum's actions as unacceptable. He stated, "For Gicum to say they have no formalized list but the PPP is second is a great indication of their intention to manipulate this process for a specific political party. It is also a breach of the equal treatment of all contestants in this election." He emphasized that Gicum should have communicated any changes to established customs well in advance. Hughes also highlighted that Gicum security personnel had previously documented the party's presence and arrival times, calling it a travesty for Gicum to disregard its own records. Amanza Waltendesser, leader of Forward Guyana movement, expressed her frustration over the lack of communication from Gicum. She noted that her party was fourth in line and worried about being shifted further down based on the recent letter from Gicum. Waltendesser stressed the importance of early submissions to allow time for any necessary corrections to nomination lists, as parties are now given only 24 hours for changes, down from a previous 7-day period. Simona Brooms, ALP leader, echoed these sentiments, pointing out that Gicum has not been transparent about the nomination process, leaving many new parties in the dark. She called for clarity from the Commission on the procedures for nomination day and other election-related activities. Since the announcement of the election date and the commencement of the electoral process, Gicum has not held any press conferences, further exacerbating concerns among the political parties. The situation raises questions about the Commission's commitment to transparency and fair practices as the elections approach. Former Bartica Mayor Gifford Marshall endorses President Ali for re-election. Gifford Marshall, who previously served consecutive terms as mayor of Bartica under the APNU plus AFC coalition, has publicly declared his support for the governing People's Progressive Party/Civic, PPP/C, and President Dr. Irfan Ali's bid for a second term. In a statement posted on his Facebook page ahead of his upcoming 45th birthday, Marshall reflected on his personal journey and the transformation of Guyana, emphasizing the need for adaptable leadership in changing times. "Earlier this year, I had the privilege of speaking with President Ali at length," Marshall shared. "What struck me most was his genuine passion for fostering unity among all Guyanese, his commitment to religious tolerance, and his ambitious vision for infrastructure development." Marshall's endorsement is notable, considering Bartica's history as a stronghold for the APNU. The town had previously voted solidly for the coalition during local government elections before 2023, when Marshall held office. His shift in allegiance appears to stem from a belief that the country's future requires inclusive and visionary leadership, qualities he attributes to President Ali. "In assessing the path forward for our nation, I believe we need leadership that can harness our tremendous potential while navigating the complexities of our rapidly changing world," Marshall stated, highlighting the president's distinguished record of public service as a key factor in his support. President Ali is set to officially launch his re-election campaign on Sunday, with plans to continue his government's ambitious agenda focused on infrastructure, housing, and national unity. Marshall's defection and endorsement are seen as a strategic move to attract support beyond the PPP/C's traditional base. Marshall concluded his message by extending his best wishes to President Ali for the 2025 elections, stating, "I endorse President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali for a second term as President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana." Gicum confirms preparations for nomination day ahead of 2025 elections. With just 2 days remaining until a pivotal moment in the country's 2025 general and regional elections, the Guyana Elections Commission (Gicum) has announced that all preparations are in place for nomination day, scheduled for Monday, July 14th, at the historic Umanayana in Kingston, Georgetown. The nomination exercise will take place from 10 o'clock HRS to 1400 hours HRS, during which political parties will officially submit their lists of candidates to contest the elections set for September 1st. Gicum has committed to ensuring a smooth, transparent, and orderly process in accordance with the nation's electoral laws and established guidelines. Key points for political parties. Submission period. Parties intending to contest the elections are reminded to submit their lists within the specified timeframe. Chief Election Officer. The Chief Election Officer will be present to receive submissions, verify documents, and address any clarifications that may arise during the process. Acknowledgement of submission. An official acknowledgement will be issued upon the successful submission of complete nomination packages. GCOM has stressed the importance of adhering to protocols and respecting the democratic process. The Commission is dedicated to fostering a structured, peaceful, and dignified atmosphere throughout nomination day. Members of the media are invited to cover the event, reflecting GCOM's ongoing commitment to transparency and public accountability. As the election approaches, GCOM's efforts aim to uphold the integrity of the electoral process, ensuring that all parties have a fair opportunity to participate.